Welcome, and I'm so excited to invite you to how to color your own Mirella Sementilli wigs. Really easy. I'm going to share with you right from the conceptual inspiration right to the very finish of shampooing the color out, to blow drying the color, as well as cutting the actual wig. This is going to be an exciting set, so hang in there and watch step by step how I am going to demonstrate do-it-yourself coloring your own Mirella Sementilli wig. We're going to start with receiving your wig in our wonderful box, the Mirella Sementilli Wig box, designed by me. We're going to remove our wig, and what I selected here for this particular look is a rooted cool wig. It's a 1-inch root, 100% human hair, premium human hair. And as you can see on the inside, it's all lace and it has the adjustable straps as well, okay? And we're gonna put it on a mannequin that is available on my website. And this mannequin is a foam mannequin that you can actually apply your wig to and color your wig right on the mannequin. So I'm gonna go ahead and place our mannequin on the wig on the mannequin, just like that. Now we're going to use our pins just to secure our wig to the mannequin. And we usually like to pick the center of the front, the side pulling down nicely. You can see here this exceptionally stronger section here that allows you to place your pin into that area, right as close and as far down as you need to, and it won't tear your mesh. So be very careful about tearing the mesh. You always want to center your wig on the mannequin so that you know where your highlights and your lowlights and how your end result is going to look like. We're going to go over to the other side, find the exact same section again, okay, just like that. We're going to select the parting of choice. So we're going to go ahead and part it to the client's left side. And I just want to show out an inspiration here of what we're trying to achieve, and really break it down and analyze exactly what's happening in this picture. So of course, the end result is going to look like our picture. And looking at the fact that the hairline here is very light, and there's very baby lights, small baby lights at the very top, as well as almost hardly any low lights down at the bottom. We're also looking at where the low light starts, and it's anywhere between 6 to 7 inches as far as low lights in the actual end result. So I'm going to introduce to you how I'm going to select the colors, and looking for a very cool blonde, nothing too warm is going to be key. And I'm very excited about using our level 6, 7, and 8 colors. And these 3 colors are all mixed in a bowl. So I went ahead and I pre-mixed it for you. And again, it's 3 parts 6, 1 part 7, and 1 part 8. And it's a cool blonde with a violet base. So we're going to take down the pins right down to the very base, keeping it nice and tight. That's also a good indicator on where your part is going to be. So we're going to just make sure that we follow a nice clean part right behind that, like so. Okay. And once our parting is selected, again from our picture as being our inspiration, as you can see, the part is right there in the center. We're going to go ahead now and separate and section each area. So usually what I like to do, almost simultaneously, any foil that I'm using, I want to make sure I'm not wider than the actual foil I'm using, that you can get on the website as well. You can order your own foil, and that'll help with your sections, making sure that they're not too wide and running into any issues with that. So I like to use my clips to remove any excess sections that I'm not going to be working with. So today I decided I'm going to begin in the back, making sure again, even in the back, at the widest point, It's not wider than the section of the foil that I'm using. And just clipping that up and out of the way. Okay, still very good clips to work with when you're sectioning big chunks of hair. And you can see that the wigs are very, very great density. It's about 130% density here. And I'm gonna be starting on this section here, so I'm gonna leave it down. I'm gonna rotate it one more time, allowing to take the side front section and up and out of the way as well, okay? So we're gonna start with our first section here, and we're gonna subsection on a diagonal. Now, the reason why I love to take my diagonal sections is because that way it really helps with demarcation bands. So taking a diagonal section, okay, removing any hair that I don't want down, up and out of the way. And we're starting with our diagonal section. Can you see that? I'm just gonna tilt the head just a little bit. So that's what I mean by diagonal. We're going from the center back up to behind the ears, keeping the density nice and thin. So I think I'm ready to go. And I'm gonna put my gloves on, okay? These gloves are silicone, great, very, very strong gloves. I found that they're very durable. They have a really nice grip on the inside so that you're allowed to, you're able to hold on to things. I don't know if you could see that. And they're a really nice snug fit. My hand is usually a size 8 and these are a medium. And really, really flexible, great to work with. And they also work with heat appliances. So you can also use them when you're working with the wrapping with the curling iron or blow drying, or for those of you who have sensitive hands, you can also use these. They really feel great. So let's get started. I'm using my brush and I have my foils here. And I want to talk a little bit about the application and the reason why we're putting color on the foil before we put hair on it, okay? So the reason I like to do that is so that I get a lot of color coming through as I'm applying my color. So what I want to do here is I want to apply as close as I can to the root, okay? As you can see. And then I'm doing a 7-inch application, okay? And then I'm going to make the end of that application very uneven. So for a lack of better words, I'm gonna create a very zigzag effect with my brush, okay? So you don't wanna end with just a really straight line. You can also pick up the hair and brush upwards like so. Really, really easy to understand that application. 7 inches. Applying my foil on a diagonal, just like that, okay? Now, instead of applying the color on the foil on your tray, you're applying the color right on the foil that's on the back of the foil you just applied. And you're gonna go to 7 inches. Now we're gonna go down to 6 inches. So taking the next section, very thin, 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 thin section, lay it over top, like so. Again, applying as close as you can to the root. And you're only applying a solid 6 inches of hair color. All right down to the band of 6 inches, and then you're gonna just sweep across on a diagonal to help create a very neutral, organic feeling on the finish of that low light. Okay, pretty straightforward. All right, and now the foil up against it, keeping it nice and straight. And because we have a diagonal section, I like to fold the foil on a diagonal. Reminds me every time to take my section diagonally. Okay, I'm just gonna come across here, nice and thin, across that section. Now you can decide when to weave the section. all right? As well as when you want to solid create your balayage. This particular section now I'm going to weave. Okay, so I weave that out, drop my highlight. My low light is always the top of my comb. So I'm going to start again with my foil and my color, diagonal, up, just like that. And what's wonderful here is I've already got my root in because I ordered the cool rooted 1-inch root wig with the ultra blonde hair, which is still very cool. Now, this is from 7 inches to 6 inches, but when you weave, you repeat your 6 inches. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and apply color up to a solid 6 inches, and then just weave color just like that on the very end and applying it very organically. Okay, so you want to just make it look like it's a beautiful blend between the strong level 6 hair color with the ultra blonde level 10. Applying our foil, and always like to bend that one corner just like that. So now after my weave, I'm going to go ahead and apply color on the back. Okay, there we go. Now this is 5 inches. All right, so just to remind you, you can also paint your foil like that, putting in enough color to accept color from the back. I find that a lot of times when you're doing low lights, the color's not penetrating through. So by putting color on your foil or pre-coloring your foil, it allows the color to penetrate through better. So I hope you're enjoying this and agreeing with me, because this works really well with the wigs, and you'll see that the hair that I chose, 100% European hair, takes extremely well to all hair color brands, whether it be direct dyes, semi-permanent, permanent color, totally up to you. What's the difference for me would be, what the difference is for me is that if I choose to one day change this color, I would then go with a semi-permanent color. So at 5 inches, I'm just going to bring the color down very irregularly here and making sure I have total saturation from end to end. Okay. Place my foil on a diagonal, up, like so. Okay, so I usually like to do 2 solid slices and 1 weave, 2 solid and 1 weave. So I've got 1 more solid. Now, depending on how much low light or highlights you're looking for, you need to customize the wig according to your inspirational picture or your needs. No matter what you do, you're going to get great results as long as you're consistent with the application. So here's a perfect example. I didn't put color in underneath. No worries. You can go back, lift your section, put color underneath. Okay, so this is about a 5-inch. Okay, and this just helps you balance so that when you're on the other side, you can start with your 7, your 6, your 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 inch, just basically the root that she already has, and then you can start weaving, very classical weaved low light and highlight. Okay, put that down. Okay, and then just a nice, okay, blend so that you can see. I don't recommend putting a color on the ends or a toner on the ends at the same time. This is really easy to do at the basin or anytime, you know, you just do one color at a time. That way there's no intermixing with the different shades. Okay, I'm gonna take another. This one's gonna be weave now. That's why there's no color on my foil. So I'm gonna take the next section. Out of the way. So if you do want a thicker, chunkier highlight, this section can be a little bit bigger. And weave, and any hair that's on the comb is my low light. So this is the highlight. I'm gonna leave that out of the picture. And I'm gonna go ahead and put 5 inches of color on my foil, place it under my low light. Okay, you see how it's just a little bit wider there. My angle is not good. And that's because I'm trying to get you to see as much as what I'm doing. But I can see that I'm stretching out there on the corner. So if I was standing right behind the mannequin, it would be a lot easier to apply color on that one corner. Okay, so bear with me here. So 5 inches, okay, 5 inches, and I just want to softly blend my color through with a dry brush. We're just using whatever color I have on my brush at this time and just run it through. 2 slice low lights, 1 weave low light. So now I'm going to move on to my 2 slice low lights, and I'm going to a 4-inch low light. Okay, we're going to just get through that. Try and keep it thin where you could still see the foil. We're going to start at the back of the foil and we're going to go with our 4 inches of application. Okay, now you don't have to pull out a ruler and, you know, no negative comments. You know, it's my 4 inches. When you're doing your inches, then you do your inches. The purpose of this concept is mostly so that you can stay balanced. And when you're done, you have a totally balanced color. Because sometimes low lighting can really throw you off, where you might have applied more low lights on one side than the other. So it's all about just staying balanced. So we're gonna go with my 4 inches. And because it still has a somewhat irregular finish here, it could look like it's 4 inches and 5 inches. But the base is keeping in mind that we're looking for a shorter route as we're making our way up to the crown. So we're going to cover that. Make sure that's shut. Okay, 1 more slice. Like so. And anything that doesn't fit on your foil, you could just easily start to, you know, remove it and not use it. Just try and stay in the foil width. So this is another slice of 4 inches. And you can see it's also diagonal. And then you can break it up. I think that's pretty straightforward. And you're going to take your slice, apply it to the foil, nice and tight. Okay, apply. And what's wonderful about taking the mannequin with the root is that you don't have to worry about applying the root equally or evenly. And again, not everybody wants the root, but I'm making it available for that reason, because then the hardware inside is also darker. And guess what's next? A weave section. So we did 2 and weave, 2 and weaved. So we're going to take our next section now and do our weave. Remove anything that doesn't fit on our foil. So I want to go ahead and weave. So remembering that the hair on top of the comb, okay, is our low light. All right, so there's our highlight right there. So if you would rather have it the other way around, where you want more highlights, then you're taking a lot less. Okay, a lot less, and leaving a lot more highlights. I think you get it by now. So I think at this time I'm going to take a lot less. So these are definitely our highlights. And now I'm going to come in with my foil, ready for 4-inch. So this is the last of the 4 inches. Okay, so we did 2 slices at 4 inches and 1 weave at 4 inches. Okay, we just want to, that's the fun part. It's just making sure there's a blurred line and no strong demarcation. For this particular look and the inspiration I was given, that's what I'm looking for. For your look, you can definitely create anything at all you want with the end result. You can actually put in a second color in the center and then weave onto the ends. So really there's an incredible amount of different techniques that you can use with this system. So now we're going to do 2 slices of 3-inch and 1 weaved of 3-inch. So you're following the pattern by now, and I'm just going to quickly go through the rest of the mannequin, and I can't wait to show you the end results. We're at the second last section at the very top, and it's getting a little bit tighter up there. So I want to make sure we continue to take very small baby lights, not only in the highlight as well as the low light. So that's my highlight there. I just want to balance that out, because in order to have the end result like our picture, we're looking for very, very fine and not stripy or chunky end results. So keeping that really soft is my highlight, and I'm going to go and apply my low light. I'm at a 1-inch. So applying that at the very top on a diagonal once again. And applying just to soften that out. All right, So there we go, looking good. Now, if you have one more section like I do, okay, it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and weave that one more time, because we want to make sure that the soft color at the top, okay, is not too dark on the surface. We want to try and create a freshly highlighted effect at the top. Okay, so bear with me here. Taking up my last section and weaving very, very fine. Take your time. Okay. There's my highlight section right there. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and take just a little bit more hair out of here. There we go. And now I'm going to apply my last 1-inch section. Okay, making sure it is about 1 inch. And weave that nice blend like that. Okay, so that is our first quadrant. That took about 40 minutes to apply, making sure that it doesn't process for longer than an hour. Now, some colors don't process after an hour of application, and some colors do process a little different. So my wig hair works exactly like natural human hair. There's no difference. So follow the instructions with your color company, or the color company that you're using will always tell you that the color will develop differently on different types of hair. Starting with a cool blonde, known as my ultra blonde, you're going to find that a lot of the colors do come true to swatch. So I'm going to go on to my second quadrant here, starting at the very bottom, again on a diagonal. And removing the excess. And you remember, we're going to start on our second quadrant, and we're going to start with 7 inches, the exact same way as we started the other side. And it is 2 slices, 7 inches, one weave, 7 inches. So relax, sit back, and watch the technique unfold. about to get to the very, very top, and I have a few items, a few sections here in the front that I'd like to talk about, just so that we can finish together. And I want to share with you what I'm about to do. So with my last section, we're going to do a back-to-back weave. So one is a very, very baby fine section. We're going to remove that off the top. And then this is a little too heavy for a low light. So I'm going to baby fine weave that again. So I'm going to alter this section as being 1 inch here. And then the next section I'm going to alter with it being 1.5 inches to 2 inches. So we really want to mix up that last section so we don't have too much of the same, or perhaps even a very thick, chunkier foil. So always weaving and making sure that the sections are nice and fine, and the baby lights are fine as well. And this one is just a little bit more rooty than the previous one. And just add blending a bit there. And it's really nice to also go with a shorter to the front and lower light, longer to the back. So we have more of a diagonal on that section. So I'm just going to cover that up. And then our last section is just basically our weaved piece right there. So I want to show you a little bit of what she looks like at the front. You noticed we left out all the hairline, and I really love that look once we're done. But there's this one section that wasn't fitting into our foils. So I'm going to go ahead and just personalize that one section. So you remember this was our marker here, the pin, which was the center. This is the one side, this is the opposite side. So I'm going to have to take this separately and handle that separately because it wasn't fitting in my foils. So I'm going to remove just some baby fine lights starting from the top. Okay, remove that out of the way. So we're keeping those, and I'm just going to work my way down now as opposed to from the bottom up. So I'm going to take that section there, weave it again. Not sure if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm personalizing this one area that wasn't fitting into my foils. And I thought I'd share that because no matter how much you try to pre-measure, you're always going to end up with one area maybe just a little off. So it's not a big deal just to alter that, but from the top working my way down. Remove that out of the way and altering, weaving. So that was a 1 inch retouch. Now we're going to do a 1.5 retouch. But each section is weaved and very fine baby lights. So this is going to mesh really nice together when I'm done, and it'll be seamless. Okay, it's kind of awkward trying to do this where the camera can see as opposed to doing it in front of myself. So I'm just going to turn her a little bit more, and we're going to take her to the basin in about 40 minutes processing time, and I will see you right back here, and we'll go through it with a really beautiful blow dry for you and a haircut.